Now I'm going to read Ezekiel 42, Mom. And this talks about the details of the temple and the stuff inside the temple. And I believe that the temple in heaven is going to be just like the temple that was on earth that represented the coming of Jesus and his sacrifice. And we'll be reminded for all eternity of the great sacrifice of Jesus by the temple that will be there. Then he brought me forth into the utter court, the way toward the north, and he brought me into the chamber that was over against the separate place, and which was set the building toward the north. Before the length of 100 cubits was the north door, and the breadth was 50 cubits. It's talking about the north door, Mama. In the next chapter, we're going to read about the gates of the city. And I was thinking about it today in church. An eastern gate, if we take east is here, that's the front of the city. And we turn the city sideways and we say east and west and north. I know you can't see me, Mama, but you remember what side of the city was where Calvary is. It was on the north side. I'm going to start over. Then he brought me forth into the inner utter court, the way toward the north. And he brought me into the chamber that was over against the separate place, which was before the building toward the north. Before the length of 100 cubits was the north door, and the breadth was 50 cubits. Over against the 20 cubits, which were for the inner court, and over against the pavement, which was for the outer court, was gallery against gallery in 3 stories. And before the chamber was a walk of 10 cubits breadth inward, a way of 1 cubit, and their doors toward the north. Now the upper chambers were shorter, for the galleries were higher than these, then the lower, and then the middlemost of the building. For they were in 3 stories, but had not pillars, as the pillars of the courts. Therefore the building was straitened more than the lowest, and the middlemost from the ground. And the wall that was without over against the chambers toward the other court on the forepart of the chambers, and the length thereof was 50 cubits. For the length of the chambers that were in the utter court was 50 cubits. And lo, before the temple were 100 cubits, and from under these chambers was the entry on the east gate, as one goeth into them from the utter court. The chambers were in the thickness of the wall of the court toward the east, over against the separate place, and over against the building. And the way before them was like the appearance of the chambers which were toward the north, as long as they, and as broad as they, and all the goings out were both according to their fashions and according to their doors. And according to the doors of the chambers that were toward the south was the door in the head of the way, even the way directly before the wall toward the east, as one entereth into them. Then said he unto me, the north chambers and the south chambers, which are before the separate place, they be holy chambers, where the priests that approach unto the Lord shall eat the most holy things. There shall they lay the most holy things, and the meat offerings, and the sin offerings, and the trespass offerings, for the place is holy. When the priests enter therein, then shall they not go out of the holy place into the utter court, but there they shall lay their garments within. But there shall they lay their garments within, or wherein they minister, for they are holy, and shall put on other garments, and shall approach to those things which are for the people. Now when he had made an end of measuring the inner house, he brought me forth toward the gate, whose prospect is toward the east, and measured it round about. He measured the east side with the measuring reed, 500 breeds with the measuring reed round about. He measured the north side, 500 breeds with the measuring reed round about. He measured the south side, 500 breeds with the measuring reed. He turned about to the west side, and measured 500 breeds with the measuring reed. He measured it by the 4 sides. It was a wall round about, 500 breeds long and 500 broad, to make a separation between the sanctuary and the profane place.